Team, hey there, this is Heidi Bejo, and I just wanted to start by thanking you for joining our group. Inge and I are really excited to do this group. It's a little bit different than what we normally do. This particular group is going to be very focused on goal setting, and specifically goal setting for the fourth quarter of this year. And we're going to be sharing some best practices that work really well for us, and we'll also make sure that you get the source of all this information. So if you want to geek it out and dive a little deeper on it, you'll have the resources to be able to do that. So why are we changing things up a little bit and doing this kind of group? And the reason is really just because we are coming up on the fourth quarter, and this year for you may have gone one of two ways. You may be absolutely crushing 2018. And if that's the case, we want you to take this time to be reflective, congratulate yourself, give yourself a little pat on the back if you've done a great job, and really finish strong and carry some incredible momentum into next year. For others, maybe this year hasn't been so great. Maybe you kind of fell off. Maybe you pull out your goals for 2018 that you did back in January and you haven't really gotten any of them, or very few. And this is a great time to reset. A lot can happen between now and the end of the year. You still have tons of time. You have 3 months. And what you need to do is kind of pull those goals out, maybe reprioritize, and again, finish strong. So you can still finish strong even if this year maybe hasn't kind of gone the way you thought. So we hope, either maybe this is a time of just pausing for a moment to celebrate and carry on, or maybe it's a time to reset and refocus and get back after it. Either way, you're going to finish strong this year. The other reason we wanted to do this is Inge and I are both really big proponents of quarterly goals or 12-week goals instead of annual goals. I believe in an annual vision, but when it comes to goals and goal setting, big believer in using a 12-week time frame or a quarterly time frame. And the reason for that, honestly, the main reason is just that when you have less time to reach your goals, every day is more important, and so it just kind of heightens the awareness and the importance of your goals by having that compact timeline. This was first introduced to me in a book called The 12-Week Year by, I think the author's name is Brian Moran, Moran. So if that's of interest to you, grab that book and dive in. But the basic gist is just that. It's shorter time frame, more focus, more urgency. Why did we name this group Labor of Love? Because that spoke to us. We know we are all a work in progress. We know we are constantly trying to get better. So there is some labor to that, but it's really about loving yourself and being better in whatever category we're talking about, whether it's spiritual, spouse, parent, sister, friend, no matter what. Most of that stuff is stemmed from love, and it's love of self, love of others, and even though it does take work to get better, it's worth it. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start off by talking, before we actually get into the goal setting part of things, I think it's very, very important to actually clear your mind. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about brain dumps. And if you know what a brain dump is, then great. But hopefully we have some other tools to help make that more effective for you. If you don't know what it is, it's also known as a mind sweep. You might have heard that term as well. And I first heard about this by a guy by the name of David Allen, and he wrote a book many years ago called Getting Things Done. So again, another resource for you if you want to geek out and dive a little deeper on this, David Allen's book, Getting Things Done. So the why behind doing a brain dump before we jump into goal setting is, again, we just want to clear our mind. And David Allen actually says, like a quote from his book is, we need to transform all of the stuff we've attracted and accumulated into a clear inventory of meaningful actions, projects, and usable information. My take on that is basically your mind is for thinking, not for carrying around a bunch of useless information. And so the clearer your mind is, the clearer you will think. So let's empty it out. So what do you need? Pen or pencil? Pick your favorite. And ideally a stack of blank paper, like copy paper or something like that. And then you need to carve out about 15 or 20 minutes after this video. And that's it. So how it works is basically you just literally start thinking of things and you write them down. And it's really important that you write down whatever pops up in your mind, no matter how big or how small it is, in whatever order. Don't try to organize it because you'll lose some of those thoughts if you make it so it's just random. Whatever pops in your mind, write it down. And if you want to do this exactly the way David Allen recommends, he recommends that you have a big old stack of blank paper and you only write one item on each piece of paper. I know that seems incredibly wasteful. Recycle your paper because you'll be killing some extra trees. But the reason behind that is that it just helps down the road when we're getting things organized if you just have one thing per sheet of paper. If you want to save a little paper, tear your paper in half or in quarters or something like that. But again, we just kind of want one thing, so when we're organizing, it's just a little bit easier that way. That's what you do when you do a major brain dump. So again, just start writing down stuff. So like, I'll just use myself as an example. If I'm thinking through things, like I know I need to email a loan checklist to a prospect. I need to schedule a meeting with an appraiser. Maybe you need to register to vote. I'm registered, but if you're not, get registered. I need to complete an expense report. I need to buy dog food. I need to book a flight to Chicago. So again, random, write it down in whatever order. Take my vitamin, whatever it is. So after, and literally just gonna sit there and write down every single thing that is floating around your mind. And for some people that might only be 10 things. Honestly, for me, the first time I did this, it was literally like over 100. It was nuts. Once you are sitting there and you feel like you've written down everything you can think of, I want you to take out your planner or calendar or whatever you use, flip through the last month, flip through the month ahead, and that may jar some other things, and keep writing. When you're done with that, grab your kids' schedules, write down anything else that you think of that you have to do by whatever. And then when you think you've written down, there's nothing left, and you feel like you've written down every single thing that was in your brain, I want you to go into the files section of our group, and in there you're going to see two things. You're going to see trigger lists. One will be a professional trigger list. The other one will be a personal trigger list. And I want you to look through those lists, and as you look through those, it may bring more things to the surface. So again, keep writing, keep writing, keep writing. We're trying to literally dump everything out of your brain. So obviously that's going to take some time. When you're done, I want you to keep everything in the same random order, but flip back through it real quick. And if there's anything that has to be done this week that's time sensitive, pull those specific things out of the pile, and then make sure you get it on your calendar. Make a grocery list if it's buy milk or dog food or whatever, or somehow keep it front and center so you get everything done that needs to be done this week specifically. And then if there's anything that can wait, just keep that bigger pile, the rest of that stuff in a pile somewhere and keep it together. And again, it can stay in random order. and then just hang on to it until our next video. But I just want to make sure that if you do this brain dump and there's stuff that has to be done this week, that you actually get that done. The other stuff, hang tight till we do the next video. And as far as brain dumps in general, people often ask me, like, how often should we do them? I would personally say at least once a month, preferably once a week. And I know I purposely do one once a week. When I do a weekly review, it's just kind of one of my own personal routines. But in between that, in my planner, I actually keep a page that is kind of a running list for the month. I just put on their brain dump, and then as things pop in my mind that I know I need to address, I'll just jot them down. It's just kind of my collection space. And then when I'm going through my weekly review, I will, again, if they're time sensitive, I need to take care of them sooner. But worst case, when I'm going through my weekly review, then I will address and organize those things in a way that we will discuss on the next video. So I hope this serves you. I hope you found value of this. If you have any questions, post them in the comments below. And otherwise, again, thank you so much for joining us. We are excited to do this little bit different approach in our group, and we hope you find it of value. So again, ping us if you have any questions, and keep writing and dump that brain. Clear it out. All right, be a stalwart.